Hi, folks. Welcome to Crisco's Corner. Hi, folks. Welcome back. Finally, the decision has come down from the Supreme Court concerning Roe v. Wade. The Supreme Court overturns Roe v. Wade in a landmark opinion from Fox News. The case before the court centered on a Mississippi law banning abortion after 15 weeks. Now, I'm not going to go into the morality, either for or against abortion on this. I have my own personal beliefs. But the thing of it is, though, I remember I'm 65, and I was a junior in high school in 1973 when this landmark case became the law of the land, the decision from the Supreme Court in Roe v. Wade. Now, many have said for decades, this is almost 50 years now, next year will be 50 years, that this was groundbreaking ruling from the Supreme Court in a woman's constitutional right. Well, you can hold the Constitution up to the light, put lemon juice on it. They used the 14th Amendment, and they really, really stretched it to get Roe v. Wade put in 73. Now, even Ruth Bader Ginsburg said it was a bad decision based on bad premise of law. And it was in effect for so long is absolutely incredible, but neither here nor there. What this does only, it gives the states, i.e. the people in those states who elected their representatives at the state level, a say on abortion regulation, period. I live in upstate New York. Not New York City, but upstate New York. And New York will not be affected at all, neither will California, Illinois, and many other states. It'll have very little impact on the number of abortions. Now, there's many states that are going to ban it outright. We'll see if that comes up to court muster, or we'll have very strong restrictions. Some, like California, have very little, if any, restrictions, which is pretty barbaric. But I think anybody will agree to that. But this is what this is about. It's about individual residents in states electing their officials at the state level to decide what their will is concerning abortion regulation. It is not a limit. It is not a ban. It is nothing at the federal level, state level only. If it's not specifically spelled out in the Constitution, the right falls to the states, period. Let's not confuse and these, well, what's going to be next? Same-sex marriage, interracial marriage, blah, 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 nonsense. Justice Alito made it perfectly clear in the ruling. Abortion is a very unique circumstance and case. You're not going to go willy-nilly now and go through everything that they don't like. That's not the way it works. Let's read it. Let's read on. Supreme Court on Friday overruled Roe v. Wade, effectively ending recognition of a constitutional right to abortion and giving individual states the power to limit or ban the practice altogether. It was based on a Mississippi case that banned abortion after 15 weeks. We end this opinion here where we begin. Abortion presents a profound moral question. The Constitution does not prohibit the citizens of each state from regulating or prohibiting abortion. Roe and Casey aggregated that authority. We now overrule these decisions and return the authority to the people and their elected representatives. And that is the key to this whole thing. Return the authority to the people and their elected representatives, said Judge Alito. No matter what the left or pro-abortion, pro-choice people, whatever you want to call them, that's the fundamental nature of this decision. Alito's opinion began with exploration and criticism of Roe v. Wade, and it's holding that while states have a legitimate interest in protecting potential life, this interest was not strong enough to prohibit abortions from the time of fetal viability, understood to be at about 23 weeks in a pregnancy. The court did not explain the basis for this line, and even abortion supporters have had it hard to defend Roe's reasoning. Chief Justice John Roberts agreed that the viability line never made any sense, but said he would have taken a more measured course with his case. Rather than overturn Roe v. Wade altogether, Roberts said he would continue to recognize the right to get an abortion, and the right should extend far enough to ensure a reasonable opportunity to choose, but need not extend any further. Now, we'll leave a link for this entire article on Fox. I'm not going to be able to read it all. Dozens of pro-life pregnant centers were vandalized since the opinion leaked. That was the leaked opinion. And I hope that person goes to jail for a long time and sets an example. Catholic churches have been targeted, and a suspect was charged in attempted murder for allegedly trying to assassinate Justice Brett Kavanaugh. The High Court heard oral arguments in the case in December of last year. Mississippi Solicitor General Scott Stewart argued in support of the law. He also argued that two landmark abortion cases that kept state governments from prohibiting abortion at certain points during a pregnancy, the regulation up to when you can have one, Roe v. Wade, Planned Parenthood v. Casey, be overturned. Pro-life advocates believe the state is the best forum to debate over abortion restrictions and see the overturn of Roe as a rightful return of the issues to the states. No matter what side of this issue, if any, you fall on, this is about giving the individual citizens in each state and the representatives they've chosen to put their will when it comes to abortion, either banning, regulation, or no regulation at all. 13 Republican-led states have passed trigger laws in the event Roe v. Wade is overturned that would immediately restrict abortion. The Supreme Court went as far as to overturn the 50-year precedent. And it goes on. New York passed a bill in 2018 designed to codify Roe, and other blue states were expected to follow suit after the Supreme Court's ruling. Public opinion polling has also indicated that despite more than 6 in 10 registered voters think the court should uphold Roe, majority of Americans are in favor of some restrictions on abortion. Now, I'm going to talk about this New York really briefly here. And the fact of the matter is, when that passed, I remember, and I know people in state government. I used to be a local elected official in the early 2000s. For many, many years in New York, if you killed a woman who was pregnant, you were charged with 2 homicides. In 2018, when they updated their abortion regulations and made it a lot less regulated, they took out that part where if you now kill a woman who's pregnant, you're only charged with 1 homicide. Now, here's the deal. That means for God knows how long that law has been in place at the local and state level about killing a pregnant woman is 2 homicides, is saying outright that the pregnant woman's child she's carrying qualifies as a human being. And they got rid of that. And when it passed, they stood up and cheered. I'm just going to leave you that with food for thought. And then we're going to have, Fox News poll about how they would feel if a law banning abortion after 15 weeks were passed in their state. Just over half the voters favor it, while 41 opposed it. You can read the rest of the article if you go to the link in the description. And that's the way it is. Almost 50-year ruling by the Supreme Court has now been overturned. Democratic campaign arms have already signaled that abortion will be a key issue heading into the midterms and will galvanize their base. Republicans are largely convinced that sanctity of life issues will spark renewed enthusiasm for conservative candidates in state-level elections. This is not about whether you agree with abortion or not. This case is about the fact as the federal government, the federal level, makes abortion a constitutional right. It never should have been voted in that in 73. And here we are almost 50 years later, half a century, and his filing was overturned. no matter what side of the aisle you fall on or what side of the issue you fall on, it never, ever been federal constitutional right. And the court has finally corrected that. Now, each state and the people that live in those states and their elected representatives now can decide what they want to do in the state where they reside, which is the founders' idea that all these things should be done at the state level, not the federal. So for that reason, I'm overjoyed that it's been overturned. And my personal opinions on abortion, I'll keep out of it. But it was bad law. Ruth Bader Ginsburg, the late justice, said so. And now this historic moment has come. Roe v. Wade has finally, after almost half a century, been overturned. Until the next time, folks, goodbye and good luck.